Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement. It's Wednesday, so you know what that means. It's time for another midweek mini mail call. It's just going to be a single item on today's video, so it's actually going to be a little bit shorter than they usually are, which is really quite long. And I'm trying to be sensitive to that because I understand that I put out enough videos that when they're all an hour long or whatnot, it does become a little bit difficult for people to watch. Hopefully, as winter approaches in the northern hemisphere here, people are going to have more time on their hands because the weather won't be so beautiful, and you're going to be inside, cooped up, and unable to do anything fun, so you'll be watching YouTube videos, maybe. Anyhow, without further ado, let's get right to it. We have a package here. It comes from John in Blacklick, Ohio. Blacklick, Ohio. Interesting name of a place. My surname is in there, so kind of cool. Let's see what we have in here. Ah, okay. There it is. So what this is an AUI to 10 base T adapter. So this would allow me to use those network cards that only have AUI jack on the back, which is this 15-pin D sub, and it gives me 10 base T out of it. Here are examples of two network cards that won't work for me unless I have an adapter like this. So when we look at the back of the card here, all you see is the D sub and then the coax connection for thin net Ethernet. Now I'm not quite sure about this card because see how it has just regular screw terminals there? AUI connectors always have these things on there, and this is the more appropriate connector here. So you connect this up like that, and then you slide this over to the side. I think I'm going to have to use a little tool to do that. So you slide this thing back and forth, and it's like the little locking mechanism. I think up is unlocked. Yes, it is. And you push this down. Oh, it's really hard to push down. So that goes on all the way. It does look like it's a little bent here. So I think it's seen better days, but normally you would push this down and it would lock into place and it would prevent this adapter from pulling out. But unfortunately right now, oh no, it's locked in there. Okay, cool, so that worked. I didn't even show this, but this is a D-Link DE853 Ethernet transceiver for twisted pair cable. And when we look here, we have Power TX, we have a Link RX, Collision, and Jab. I don't know if Jabber. And then a couple switches here, SQE Enable. Don't quite know what that means, but this would be a half duplex 10 megabit connection here. So nothing very fast, but that's really the limit of what these cards can do. These things just run at 10 megabits. You can see that this board actually had provision for twisted pair, 10 megabit RJ45 like this, on the board, but for whatever reason it wasn't populated, leading you to need to use one of these. Now, I recently got those Amiga network cards for the Zorro II slots, and those only have the AUI connector on them. So you do need to use an adapter like that to use those as well. The fact that this doesn't have the slidey connector on here just really makes me think that this is actually a token ring card. It says there 1642, and that just screams 16/4 megabit, which is what token ring is. And I wrote on the back here, question mark, because I couldn't really figure out what this card was. But this one, on the other hand, I was sure was Ethernet. This is a Western Digital card there, Western Digital 8013EP, so I gotta go look this up, find if there's drivers for this, DOS packet drivers, and see if I can get this thing on the network. Okay, the Ethernet card is in the test bench machine here, and I have an Ethernet cable connected to my managed switch. And I'm pretty sure I have that port forced down to 10 megabit half duplex. Sometimes these types of cards or these devices will have a problem with auto detect. If you're giving it like a gigabit signal or 100 megabit on the other end, it can cause issues. So forcing it with a managed switch does really help. So the card is the WD8013EP, and there's an SMC version of it. And I looked and looked and looked. Yeah, the SMC80X3. Oh, here we go. This is the page that I found that was very helpful. So stack.nl, and it talks about the fact that there's an SMC version of these cards. I think Western Digital was the first one who made these, like WD8013EP is also the SMC8013EPC. And if you click this, it does have information on the jumpers. Boy, it's hard to read with this background. But there's also the easy setup program that you need to basically get this thing configured, because it's got software configuration. And in addition, to use this thing in DOS, you need packet drivers. And I'm going to be using MTCP from Mike Brutman, an amazing TCP/IP stack for DOS. All you need to do to use this is the packet driver that goes with the card. And I pretty much found it was impossible to find anything on that Western Digital card, so I looked for the equivalent part number from SMC, and I just typed in packet driver, and that brought me to this page here, which seems to have, yeah, it was this one, I think. I can't even remember, to be honest. I tried a few different ones. I'm not even sure if any of them are going to work, but that was my methodology for searching. So if you're looking for these drivers, do the same thing. All right, let me power this thing on, and I'm going to see if these packet drivers actually work, because I don't know. It's going to be an interesting experiment here. Honestly, getting these old cards working in DOS is always a trick, because half the time there's not even the right markings on there. You don't even know what the deal is. You never have the original discs. It is not ideal. Now what's happening here? Why isn't this booting? There we go, it's booting now. All right, on the D drive here in the eNet directory, I have two folders. They were self-extracting archives I downloaded. One is the Easy Setup utility. That's this GEZ122. Let's run this Easy Setup. See if we can configure this card appropriately. All right, it's seeing it, 8013EP, that's the correct one. There's the MAC address. Base IO is 280. I just wrote down on this post-it note here that its base IO is 280 and the IRQ is 15, because I know we're gonna need those, I'm pretty sure, for the packet driver. So I'm not gonna change anything, because those settings actually seem completely fine. And then the GPK115, this should be the packet driver, I guess. So PKT 8000, let's see what we get here. Yeah, packet drivers for SMC 8416. 8416, that doesn't seem to match, but let's just try it anyways. All right, we're gonna leave the options be, and we're gonna set this up as packet driver 0x60, and the IO address is 280, interrupt number is 15, and I don't know if we need the mem address. Let's just leave it. Failed to initialize, could not find the board. Let's just leave this. Okay, with no parameters, I just put 0x60, that's the packet driver interface. It completely worked, there it is. IO address 15, so it's that memory address I didn't type in, I guess. Couldn't find it, but it seems to be working, I think. All right, over here on the C drive, here's MTCP. So the first thing you do is you have to run, well, before you run anything, you actually check your config file. Just make sure that the packet interface is configured correctly, and there it is, it's 0x60. That's exactly what I configured it for when I ran the packet driver. So we're gonna run DHCP, which should try to talk to my DHCP server if that thing is working, this, and it's hanging it. So I am not sure. What I need to do is check to see if any lights are on. All right, so on the switch, which I can see is over there on the wall, it does have a link light. So that is working, but we're definitely not getting anything. I'm gonna log into my switch, and I'm just gonna check to see what's going on. All right, so here I am logged into my managed switch here. It's a GS1008T from Netgear. So it looks like I have ports 5 and 6 configured for 10 meg half duplex. Currently I have it connected to this port, and it's currently running at 10 meg half duplex. It says link up, but it is set to auto, and that might be causing a problem. So I'm gonna move the Ethernet cable down to port number 5 here. All right, and I just did a refresh after moving the cable, and there we go, 10 megabit half duplex link up. So perhaps it's working now. Let me run DHCP again. Now, for all I know, this network card is bad, or this AUI adapter doesn't work. I definitely know that MTCP is fully compatible with my network at home. I've used this plenty of times on this machine, actually, that this MTCP was already on here. Of course, I always use cards that have Twisted Pair already on them. And this is definitely not working right now. It's just timing out again. So I'm just taking a look at the little transceiver here, and it does have the flashing LEDs on there. The link lights up and the activity light is blinking. And the other two LEDs are not lit. That's the collision and the jabber lights. So I don't know what's going on. I can't blame this again. Could be this card. So maybe what I need to do is there's two dip switches here that I have no idea what they do. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to flip these switches. We'll just see if that makes a difference, because maybe it will. You know what? I just had a thought. It says Twisted Pair after running the packet driver. What if it's trying to use the Twisted Pair that's on the card that's not actually there, and it's not using the AUI? Was there a setting to let me tell it to use the AUI port? That's what I need to look at. I'm going to check easy setup again, and I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to change this. So base IO, this is all fine. ROM, I don't have a ROM installed. Okay, so I didn't change anything. Save this setup, sure. On the card right here, there are some jumpers. But the way it's set right now, it seems to just allow you to pick some base IO stuff or set it to auto or software config. And that's what it's currently set to, software config. And just checking here, the packet driver one more time, it definitely does not have anything here to say what kind of connection it has. So I guess it's auto detecting, maybe? Okay, we're back in MTCP directory, DHCP, and we're still not working. Okay, so I just removed this adapter from the card, and I'm gonna power this back up, and I'm gonna run that packet driver again. I just wanna see if it still says Twisted Pair. If it still says Twisted Pair, then I think the driver is trying to use that part of the card, which clearly is not gonna work. All right, here we go. What's it gonna say? Oh, look, see, it still says Twisted Pair. That's gotta be the problem. I wonder if there's something I can read here. Let's take a look at the install.doc. I'm gonna just search for AUI in here. No, not even found. Search TP, input, output. Yeah, nothing was useful in there at all. And let's check the this easy setup program here. The 8013 EP 16-bit coax adapter configurable by software or jumpers. The W is Twisted Pair, or coax or Twisted Pair is the EW, and the EPC is coaxial configured by jumpers. 8416 is 16-bit coax and AUI adapter configured by jumpers. And the 8416BA, configured by software, is coax and AUI. Yeah, okay. I don't think this is gonna work. Seems the setup utility has some command line parameters you can do. New IO, you can change the node address. Interesting. RAM, window size, ROM. Specifies the network connection. Possible values are 1 for auto detect, 2 for BNC, or 3 for AUI or 10 base T, and 4 for Twisted Pair with no link integrity. So we're going to want dash netcon:3. Netcon:3. Netcon is invalid for this board type. Really? That's bogus. Totally bogus. See, it sees it as an 8013 EP, and when we looked at the document we were just reading, the 8013 EP, it thinks it's coaxial adapter configured by jumpers or software, but it clearly is coax and AUI. All right, well, I think the problem is this card. I'm gonna blame this as why it doesn't work. Oh, hold on a second. I was looking at the jumpers up here. Look, right down here, AUI and BNC, and it's definitely set for BNC, which is the coax connector. All right, let's try that again. I just moved it over. Let's put this on the right way. All right, I think it might work now that I have the jumpers configured correctly. All right, here we go again with the packet driver. All right, still says twisted pair, but whatever. I guess that might just be it not knowing what to do. And here we go, DHCP. Oh, and I thought it was gonna work, and it doesn't work. All right, that's a fail. I'm pretty sure I have another network card somewhere that has both twisted pair on it, so I can plug Ethernet straight into it, this RJ45, and it has AUI. I gotta find one of those that has a packet driver that I know works. All right, I went and I dug up this card right here, and this is an NE2000 card made by Microdyne. And I know it's an NE2000 card because on the back here it says NE2000 Plus. So Novell created the standards NE1000 and then NE2000 to be very standardized network cards. So if you have an NE2000 card, I think the setup utility and the packet driver is compatible across all of them. And there are multiple manufacturers who made NE2000 cards, with NE2000, by the way, being 16-bit and NE1000 being 8-bit. So it's pretty cool that they did that. And this card obviously is not compatible. Oh, but this card, I forgot to mention, it has coax, AUI, and Ethernet on there, or twisted pair. So what I can do is I can first get this up and running using the Ethernet cable, just plug straight into it. Let's pop this card out, which hasn't been so good. So I'm probably, if this thing works with this adapter, then I probably won't be keeping that other card, because I don't like keeping cards around like this that cause me all sorts of grief, which is what this has done so far. While everything boots up, I have used this card before on Linux, and it does work fine. At least the twisted pair jack, which has a link light there now. So let's see if I can get this up and running. I went and I copied the utilities onto here. So first there's a setup utility here. Pretty sure this is what I need. So let's run setup. CNET PowerNIC Plus, okay. I think this should work. Oh no, it says it's not gonna work. I read online that this utility is the one I need to get this thing working, but that is clearly not the case. All right, well, let's just try this packet driver, because like I said, I've used this card and it worked. So let's check what this needs. Okay, the packet driver looks very similar to the other one. So let's just see if it can auto-detect the card. It did. There it is. ISA bus, packet driver interrupt. Okay. So let's do DHCP. Is it gonna work? Wow, it's not working. And like I said, I've used this card before. Okay, so before I blame this card and this, clearly we're having an issue because it's still timing out. You know, I have to say, I started making this video, I thought it'd be quick and easy to test this out, and boy was I wrong. Boy was I wrong. So I'm noticing here that I have it set to IRQ9, and I think that's the problem. I was using this NE2000 card in an 8-bit machine, which doesn't have, well, I don't know, there's no IRQ9 in an 8-bit machine either, but isn't IRQ9 not usable? Oh no, IRQ9 is it's the VGA card, and it does say NE2000, so I think that's a little bit of a problem. I'm gonna have to switch that to something else. All right, so I'm looking again for drivers here. So this is a Microdyne card, and maybe this is the actual card here. So I'm gonna download, let's see, configuration and drivers. There are 2 files. I guess I'll go with this one. And unfortunately, this driver zone, anytime you click on it, it's always page not found. So you always have to Google and try to find the file you need somewhere else. So here's something here, Metropoly BBS files, and there's the file. All right, so I've copied everything that I just downloaded into this setup utility. E205, I mean, I don't even know which one to run here. What is this? Intelligent installation. Okay, I don't really want to run that. That was some diagnostics. Let's see, there's another utility here. There's Exos. There's quite a few things on here. All right, let's just run that. I don't know. Run this program for configuration. Okay, here we go. Custom configuration. Board identifier is normally 1. IO base 310. Okay. Mem size auto, mem base, signal. What? This is the IRQ, I guess? Well, 12 is what it was using. I don't have COM ports on this computer, so I guess we'll just try using 4. Verify configuration, press escape. Board response failed. Oh, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. I'm just going to try these various programs that are on here. Exos.com. That's some Novell driver thing. DB205T. Oops. BD205T. That just hung the computer. Oh, this is so frustrating. So frustrating. What does it say on the back here? This just says NE2000 plus 3. Let's look for Microdyne and NE2000 plus. Let's see what that finds. Novell Microdyne plus 3. That's the card. Look at this, is just everyone's selling it. I don't need that. I need the actual drivers. Come on. Ugh, okay, look, here's another one. Plus diag.zip for the Microdyne NE2000. Okay, this site usually actually downloads. I hate these driver sites. They're so sketchy. You know, necessary evil, unfortunately, for stuff like this. Okay, that looks promising, I guess. All right, well, let's delete that setup utility, which clearly wasn't right. And let's do another directory here. By the way, I was getting some advice from Vogons and trying to figure out, because there were people asking similar questions, how do we set up this particular card? And it was recommending, like, you know, download this stuff. Well, clearly the Exos thing was wrong. Well, let's see if this one works now. In case anyone's wondering, I've already spent around 2 hours so far trying to just test this adapter. Of course, not the fault of this adapter. I'm still blaming these network cards and the fact that they are just so annoying and difficult to use. All right, so let's run this plus diag utility here. Okay, we don't have more than one card. Okay, it's seen the card. Finally, change configuration. Let's put this to 280, which I like better. And let's make this IRQ 15. And look, it actually lets you pick what the connector type is. So thin Ethernet's the coax, thick is going to be the AUI, and twisted pair. And I don't know what Starland 10 is. So we'll leave it on twisted pair for now. I guess we'll do programmed I/O. ROM is disabled. I mean, there's a ROM on there, but we don't need it. Timing compatibility controls. Okay, normal. I don't know. That's fine. Exit, yes. We're gonna reboot the computer. All right, so let's run the packet driver and let's see if it looks like it's detecting it correctly. It's still not. Okay, so it's not seeing the, notice it's all FFF there. That's because it's not actually seeing the MAC address properly. So we're gonna have to specify things manually. So let's see here. So we're gonna go 0x60, interrupt is 15, and the IO is 280. There we go. Now it is seeing the MAC address again. So let's run DHCP. And it worked. It actually worked. So I can ping something else on my network. Let's try this. There it is. It's actually pinging. All right. Finally, we have the network card actually working. So I need to turn off the power and plug it into this. And we're going to connect this back up here. Interesting is the link light here, I know you can't see it, is on. That's funny. I don't know if it's working through the AUI, but it's also flashing on the adapter there. So good sign, good sign. Now I'm going to try this packet driver first on its own. And I'm just going to see if it works, even set to twisted pair. There we go. There's the MAC address. And we're going to run DHCP. Now, if this doesn't detect anything, then I'm going to go back to the setup utility and I'm going to change it to AUI. Or I think I'll change it to ThickNet, which should work. Okay, so yeah, it's not working. So we're going to go to setup and we're going to run this plus diag utility again. All right, so NE2000, change config, connector type. I'm going to change this to thick Ethernet. We're going to exit out of here. exit, and reboot. Here we go, let's run the packet driver again. And we'll go over to the C drive. And we'll go to utils, MTCP, DHCP. Oh boy, it worked. It freaking worked. So I can connect to my FTP server here. So I run an FTP server in a Docker container on my server, and that allows me to serve up insecurely, because regular FTP is not secure. I allow it access to a very specific directory of files that is my kind of retro computer stuff. And to be honest, I actually don't remember what the login is. Let's try this. That was wrong. How about FTP, FTP? Yes, that was it. Super insecure, but this is cool. So we are using DOS on this machine through the AUI adapter connected to my FTP server. And there we go. So I go to the PC directory here. I have all like my utilities and stuff. And that's useful for me. I can easily copy stuff onto machines. If I don't have a compact flash card I can easily take out. Sometimes a compact flash or SD is mounted inside the case. Or for instance, it doesn't even have that, it has a hard drive. So instead of opening the computer to get something onto it, I can just FTP it, because even in DOS, you can run FTP with Mike Brutman's MTCP stack here, or of course in Windows, or on the Mac, or on any of these other old computers, is always FTP. So it's a great thing to run this FTP server in a Docker container, but it is working. So this AUI adapter that John, you sent me, is fully functional. It only took me, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours to get a freaking network card that freaking worked. Everyone, heed my advice. If you are trying to get DOS networking going with ISA cards, avoid these types of cards. Don't even bother. Go right to an ISA card from 3Com or Intel. Just skip all the heartache, because those cards are very easy to find the setup utilities for. They're very reliable cards. They work very well, and they're very well supported. No matter what you use them with, you're going to find all the drivers you need very easily. These types of cards, like this one, I mean, look, it was sort of working, but then it's, missing the circuitry here, so then it didn't work. And that one does work, but it took me multiple tries to find the right utilities. So yeah, there's my advice. So thank you very much, John, for sending in this D-Link adapter, AUI to Ethernet, or a Twisted Pair. I didn't think this video would turn into a tutorial for DOS networking, but it kind of did. And I know I left some stuff out. I didn't really talk in depth about MTCP and setting that up, but I'll put a link in the description to that so you can grab that. And the key thing is, whatever your Ethernet card is on your computer, you just need the packet driver to use it with DOS and MTCP. But as you saw, you have to first configure the card correctly with all those settings before you can even load the packet driver properly. And in the case of a card like this, it was trying to use this part of the card which doesn't even exist, so you're going to run into issues like that. But 3Com and Intel cards, packet drivers are easy to find, and if it's got an AUI, you can use something like this to go to the Twisted Pair that you use these days. So this is a key component for the really old network cards. Oh, incidentally, now that I know that this adapter works, I will test it on the Amiga with that Zorro II network card that doesn't have anything but AUI and coax. So I just wanted to eliminate any potential issues, because I'm very unfamiliar with networking on the Amiga. So I didn't want to possibly run into an issue where this was the problem, or my switch not working with it. So that way I know for sure this part of it's good. So now I can focus on the Amiga. That will be in a future video at a future time. So there we go, that's it for this video. Wow, that was a lot of work to get that AUI adapter working. It wasn't the fault of the adapter, like I said, it was the fault of those stupid network cards. So as I said already, avoid those weird generic network cards. When you see them on eBay, do not buy them. Buy the 3Coms, buy the Intels, and skip all the rest. Any 2000 cards, as I had mentioned, are easy to use from a driver perspective, like that packet driver was the single file for all NE 2000 cards, but the configuration utility, that is still bespoke for the card itself, and maybe some utilities work for multiple cards, but clearly in this case I think I tried 2 for the NE 2000 card, and it was the 3rd time that I actually got it working. So avoid those as well. Just like I said, stick to the good cards and the name brands that you know are gonna work easily. So that would be it. If you enjoyed this video, thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Huge thanks to my patrons. Their names are scrolling up one of the sides of the screen. I don't know which one it is. If you want to become a patron, you can do so below. There is a link in the description below, that is. Oh, and what else is there? Oh, the second channel. I'd really appreciate a sub over there if you haven't already done so. Definitely check it out. I'm really thinking about moving mail calls over there. I know I've talked about it already. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'm gonna break these up into smaller chunks, stick them on the second channel. I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet. And whenever I talk about things in video, it seems like I never end up doing them because it's hard to make changes. You know, you have like kind of like you're a freight train rolling down the tracks, and altering course can be difficult because you're just used to doing it a certain way. So anyhow, I think that is it. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't already and all that stuff. So stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.